Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Madam President. I rise to have a few comments on the resolution, please.
Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate the hard work that went into this process. I know it's been stressful, and I appreciate the passion of many on both sides of this issue. And I certainly commend Senator Austin for her passion as exhibited today and every day she's a member here. As an employer in the private sector, I appreciate the good work of all the state employees. And my vote today should not be misconstrued as being disrespectful to the great work that they do here each and every day for the people in the state of Connecticut. As I do each and every day in my small business, I will work hard to preserve jobs, both in the private and the public sector, as long as I have a voice to do so. But I believe Connecticut is at a crossroads. I believe that it's time that we take a different direction. So about this, as with any deal, there are good things. However, there are some things that we need to look at and what the true costs of these contracts really are, and the effect that some of these provisions will have today and tomorrow. And it's the tomorrow that I'm concerned about. I believe this deal as presented is unaffordable for our state and will tie the hands of our future legislators and governors for years to come. I've had the great pleasure to run a municipality and have owned and operated a small business here in Connecticut for 34 years prior to my serving, and continuous actually, with my serving as state senator. Workers on Main Street, Connecticut are not afforded some of the benefits that are included in these contracts. And in no particular order, I will just share a few that concern me, and they're picked from assorted contracts that are presented today. Longevity. Longevity is not eliminated, but simply delayed, and rates will increase by 5.5% each year. Tuition waivers can apply to any waiver value to any of Connecticut's higher education institutions, except for one. There's a $500 travel stipend if you're teaching or working more than 10 miles from campus. I'm concerned and I question an MOU reopener in July of 2019, which would demand restructuring of salaries and pay structures. I'm concerned about an increase in the amount of union stewards and the amount of training hours that would necessitate. And then additionally from 275 to 400 and an additional 1,000 hours a bank that we would have to deal with. There are pay increases in certain contracts from $16 to $18. Increase in per hour standby assignments. Increase in physician rates from $42 to $50. On-call shifts increase from 80 to 100 during a few years over the contract. And retention bonuses are increased as well. In closing, Madam President, the 5-year wage increases included in this proposal are nearly 13%. You include the $2,000 cash bonus and the 3.5 step increase in each of the last 2 years. Wage increase each of the last 2 years. And when you add in the step increase, that's more like a 5 and a 5. But the items that I find most harmful are the 4-year no layoffs and the extension of the SEBAC agreement for 5 more years, taking us out to 2027. Connecticut needs a new and a different direction. We need to send a message to our residents and our businesses that we value them and we want them to stay in Connecticut, to thrive in Connecticut, to prosper in Connecticut, and that the state of Connecticut is committed to send a message of confidence and stability, and that we here understand how difficult it is to make ends meet here in Connecticut each and every day. Job guarantees, contract extensions, they're not happening in the private sector. Therefore, Madam President, I don't believe they should happen here in the public sector. I believe we need to finalize a budget, and I believe that we need to do that as soon as we possibly can. We need to lock ourselves in a room and work it out for the benefit of the nonprofits who suffer every day under our current situation, for the cities and towns who are in flux and wondering, for our residents, and for those who analyze and grade us in the credit markets, and for our businesses, and certainly for our employees. I believe, Madam President, this deal would severely limit our options moving forward, and therefore I intend to vote no on this today, and I urge my colleagues around the circle to do the same. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Will you remark? Senator France.